This is kind of interesting. So Scott Pioli, former general manager in the NFL, on which late-round picks deserve some attention?
Luke Wypler from Ohio State, who was also drafted in the 6th round by the Cleveland Browns. Luke is another player, again, who has a lot of the same traits in terms of being smart, being tough, being physical, but also has position versatility. These are the kind of guys that you see when they have those traits, they just seem to stick around. And then all of a sudden, 8 years later, you turn around and say, hey, wow, Wypler's still in the league. Hey, Patterson's still in the league. We've seen guys like this over and over again. I love these late round picks that have certain kind of makeup, particularly with offensive linemen.
And again, guys that have those traits and have been successful at a program like Ohio State, that's a really good 6th round pick. What just your thoughts on Wypler?
Yeah, I describe Wypler pre-draft as a guy who can start for your team for 10 years, never make a Pro Bowl, but will also never make a team unhappy. So like a J.C. Tretter type player, which I think Tretter maybe made one Pro Bowl. I can't think off the top of my head, but a guy who's just a really solid starter. You don't notice him, and you're happy he's on your team. So that's what I kind of think of Luke Wypler, especially when you consider both Nick Harris and Dawson Deaton suffered pretty significant lower body injuries that put them out for the season in the preseason. Especially when you consider Ethan Posick has only had one good year in his career. It was last year. And he also missed a chunk of games with an injury. So even with Posick on a 3-year deal, there's some language written in with the dead money. If he's a post June 1 cut, even after this season, the Browns can get out of that contract and only eat $6 million in dead money. So if Posick bottoms out to the 5 years that he kind of put on tape before coming to Cleveland last year, they have a way out of his deal pretty easily. So I think Wypler has a chance to be the backup right away and be one snap away from starting, like we saw with Nick Harris last year. The first series of the preseason suffers that gruesome injury, and Ethan Posick is your starter before you know it. And I think Wypler could be in that position this year as a rookie, as a 6th round pick. Again, he doesn't have a trait that really stands out, but he fits like a glove in the scheme when he's asked to get wide. I think he's got a pretty strong anchor because he's got a nice center of gravity because he isn't the tallest dude in the world, but I think that helps him with natural leverage. I think he's a rock solid player. He's not going to bury people. He's not overly physical, but he's a technician. He's refined and he's smart. So I think C.J. Stroud called him the smartest man he's ever been around. So that's pretty high praise. And so I think it's a heck of a pick in the 6th round.